Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:30, and I will call our regular council meeting to order. It is our tradition to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we invite you to join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have announcements about our upcoming meetings. Regular council meeting. The first meeting in August will be on Monday, August 6th, and this is because Tuesday night is our Night to Unite event in the city of Burnsville, and that will be at 6:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. And then the second council meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, August 21st at 6:30 p.m. We have a work session that's scheduled for Monday, August 13th. And the reason we're doing Monday again is because we have a primary election on Tuesday the 14th, and the law states that we can't have meetings, public meetings, city meetings during election day. So that's going to be Monday, August 13th at 6:30 p.m. And then we have one recognition to make this evening, and I'll do it from that side. Members of the council and citizens of Burnsville, we are recognizing this evening Jacob Robo-Lee, who has served on our Parks and Natural Resource Commission as one of our youth members from June 2011 to June 2012. And we thank him for his dedicated service. Jacob, come forward, please. Jacob is going to be going to the University of Minnesota. And Jacob, thank you for your work.
Thank you.
And we hope that you'll come back, and I know that you'll do well. Jacob is going to be majoring in math at the university. So, Jacob, thank you so much. If you'll turn around, Jeffrey wants to. Thank you so much, Jacob. And then the next item is citizens' comments. This is the opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the council on an item that is not on the printed agenda and not in application form that will be coming before us at a future date. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council? Seeing no one, we will move on. The next item is additions to the final agenda, and this is for emergency items only. Mr. Ebling, are there any emergency items to come before the body?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
Members of the council? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. And this is a grouping of items that's considered to be routine and will be enacted by one vote. However, an item can be removed from the consent agenda for a separate discussion and vote. Is there anyone who wishes to remove an item from the consent agenda for a separate discussion and vote? Mr. Ebling?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
Members of the council?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I would like to remove item N.
Okay. And Councilmember Gustafson?
And I'd like to remove item E.
E. And I would like to remove item M, like in Mary. I'm very much in support of this item, but the applicant is here, and I'd like for him to tell us about what's going on with this new endeavor. So item E, Councilmember Gustafson, is to approve the community festival application. Oops, I'm sorry. That's right. I need a motion for the balance.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Forgot to get the balance. Just moving right along here. Okay. Item E is to approve a community festival application and temporary on-sale liquor license for Art and All That Jazz.
Madam Mayor, I recuse myself. That while no one on our committee receives any compensation for this festival, I am on the board, so I will recuse myself from this.
I believe I saw your name on the
And then
application.
I would ask the council then to act on E.
I would move to approve E.
Councilmember Keeley makes the motion, second by Councilmember Coughlin. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you. Then we go to item M, and this is to approve an application for Torgerson LLC for a plan unit development amendment to allow a patio for outdoor seating located at 12950 Aldrich Avenue, and the applicant is here. Please come forward and give us your name and address for the record and tell us about what you're going to be doing. The public hearing was held at the Planning Commission meeting, and it came through unanimously for approval with a recommendation to the City Council. So tell us about what you're going to be doing and also when you're going to open, so our citizens will know more about this.
Will do. My name is Joe Kohout. I am a resident of Burnsville for the past 14 years. One of the first questions of the City Planning Commission was why Burnsville for the first Hurricane Grill and Wings in Minnesota. We're expected to open up at least 17 of them. So when they asked why Burnsville, I didn't know why anybody would ask that question. It's obvious why Burnsville. We love the city. It's a great location right there on Burnsville Parkway and 35W, and everybody can see it as they sit in traffic in the morning. So it should build sales. Hurricane Grill and Wings, there's 48 of them right now. They're mostly based in Florida, and it is not a Buffalo Wild Wings type restaurant. It's more of an Applebee's or a Chili's, where it's a restaurant with a bar, not a bar with a restaurant. Great food, fresh jumbo wings, 100% pure Angus burgers, salads, wraps, quesadillas. 23 TVs, so you still can watch the game without getting crowded. And that's about it.
When are you opening?
We're hoping to open October 1st.
Okay.
So, and the other question is that our uniforms are quite different from yours. So, really, we're changing the building enough so it doesn't look like Hooters, and our associates there will have enough clothes on to keep warm.
Yes, and Mr. Coward, I was just going to say that so people know where it is. It's on Aldrich, overlooking, it's the old Hooters site, and you're doing a wonderful job of really making it your own brand.
Yes.
So people know it. Yes, it's your own brand. Councilmember Gustafson and then Councilmember Sherry.
I just have a comment. I live in the neighborhood you're opening this in, and I walk by that every morning about 7 a.m. with several of my neighbors, and we've all been very excited about seeing your signs out front. Now we're going to get excited about seeing you doing some work in it. So
It
welcome
should
to
start
Burnsville.
soon.
Good.
Once we get approval.
Councilmember Sherry and then Councilmember Keeley.
I just wanted to add that I know the neighbor who came to the meeting, and he spoke so highly of your plan. And from what I saw on paper, I think that your patio addition is going to be very, very nice.
Thank you.
Councilmember Keeley.
Just a little bit about hurricanes. I'm not familiar with it. Didn't know it was in Florida. I kind of got where it got its name. But history of it, has it been around a long time? Are you a
It's been
franchisee?
around for a bunch of years. It started out in Florida. A gentleman, a surfer, wanted a place to be able to get some wings, so he opened up just a tiny little shack right off of the beach. And people came from miles away for his wings, and he was known for 50-cent beers and, I think, quarter wings at that time.
Is that your grand opening special?
Oh, no.
Just asking.
If the wings were the same price, absolutely. And it grew from there, and the sauces are just
Awesome.
phenomenal. There's 32 sauces, so you could go and
Wow.
get the same meal one night and go the next night, order the same meal, and it would be completely different if you got it with a different sauce.
Wonderful. Well, I look forward to you opening. It's great. Exciting. Thanks for picking Burnsville.
Opening here in Burnsville.
Councilmember Sherry.
Well, I just saw Mr. Fox walk in, and he is the one I was speaking of, who had said, had told me that that he thought that it really looked like a nice plan. So I don't know if he has anything to add, but
No, that's why I come to support it.
oh,
Yeah,
great.
yeah. And one of the things that I really like is that Mr. Kohout has been a resident of Burnsville for 14 years. So we have local, independently owned, yes, it's a franchise, but independently owned establishment, and that's wonderful. That's one of Burnsville's strengths. So I just thank you so much.
But
And yeah, and I'm glad. So now everybody knows, and they'll write about it, and we'll just,
1st.
yes, October 1st. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and congratulations. Thank you. And Councilmember Sherry.
I move to approve the application.
Second.
Okay, and Councilmember Gustafson seconds. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and a motion carries. It's done. You're very welcome. Okay, and N is to consider a resolution ordering the demolition of the structure and assessment of property located at 14109 Park Avenue South. Councilmember Sherry.
Madam Mayor, I asked this to, for this to be removed for special attention, not because I oppose it, because I do. I think it's a wonderful thing. But this, for those who are in this neighborhood, this was brought to our, well, it's been brought to our attention for 2 years.
Yes.
It's a house that has, for those who are watching and who don't know, and there are pictures attached to the background, that it was destroyed by fire, and it was totally uninhabitable. But for 2 years, the neighbors have been complaining, and we have been trying to get the owners to demolish this. So we finally, because the state limits our ability to act on these things, we finally have jumped through all the hoops, and we're doing it now. So I would just, I apologize to those neighbors, but that's the best we can do.
And one of the things, and I know that we try to explain to the neighbors, because we don't own the property, and the other is that it went into foreclosure. And so there was a lot of things that went along with I believe, Mr. Jamnick, there was a court.
There will be again.
And there will be again on this property. But the thing is, we now are exercising, we now are at a point where we can exercise this right to demolish it. And as Mr. Jamnick said, we'll probably be going to court on this one again. But if anybody has seen the pictures of this particular home, this house, and it's sat in this neighborhood, and we heard from the neighbors, and now we'll be able to take it down. So,
Mayor,
yes,
if I
Mr.
could just
Jamnick.
add that for the residents in the area or the citizens watching, that the procedure is for us to go back now in front of the judge, present the council's wishes to the judge as well as the inspection report. The judge may take it under advisement and consider it before issuing an order. So it is not an immediate process. It may be 30 days or so before we receive an order, and then there will be some time for us to mobilize to execute the order. So even though the council's acting this evening, it will be another month or so before you see crews in the area at the earliest.
That's very good. We can't, we have to manage expectations, because our citizens might think, okay, now the council's acted. Why haven't they done anything? But
It does
I'm
have to go
glad
back
that
to court.
it goes back to court. Very good. Okay. Councilmember Sherry?
What do
Move
we
to
need?
approve?
Move to approve the resolution, yes, thank you.
Adopt the
Second.
resolution. Councilmember Keeley seconds the motion that was made by Councilmember Sherry. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you. We have item number 5, and this is to adopt a resolution to accept the bid and award the contract for Nicollet Avenue water main improvement and street rehabilitation and the Nicollet Avenue and Highway 13 turn lane. And presenting this evening is our Public Works Director, Mr. Steve Albrecht. Mr. Albrecht.
Madam Mayor, City Council members, the item before you tonight, typically we would put this on consent, but because this item has some impacts to traffic and some other things, we wanted to highlight those as part of the presentation, just to make the public aware and the council aware of some of the special items with it. Before I get started, though, one thing we did want to discuss for the council is earlier this year, as the council's aware, we had been experiencing some higher bid prices, especially on our water and utility infrastructure. And so we, with this project, would have exceeded our CIP planned and budgeted amount for our water and sewer system. So before we awarded this bid, city staff, finance department, public works staff sat down and looked at our 5-year finance plan for that fund, and wanted to make sure and make any adjustments necessary to make this is an important improvement. We want to do this improvement, but we also want to make sure that because we do this improvement, we're not going to create some additional rate spike or additional increases that weren't part of the council's approved plan. Staff spent last week reviewing all the projects done this year, projecting our next 5 and actually our next 15 years, and we feel very comfortable that moving forward with this project, we've made some adjustments to the CIP, which you'll see this fall. We've also bumped some projects from this year into next funding year to make sure that we can do this project but not change the required funding that the council had previously approved for the 5-year finance plan. So that's something I just wanted to set forth up front, because that was a commitment that we made to the council as we moved forward with those projects earlier this year. And so with that, what I'd like to do is maybe take you briefly through, there's a couple of different components to this Nicollet project, and because it's on Nicollet, one of our busiest streets, it's something we certainly want to make everyone aware of. And so as you can see on the overhead, we've got shown the project area, and there's 2 components, the first of which will be a Nicollet turn lane. Anybody who travels in the morning or any time trying to get onto 13 recognizes there is no right-hand turn lane onto 13, and often traffic that could flow eastbound on 13 can't even get on 13 because of that issue. And so the first improvement will be a turn lane in this location, and really it's a pretty easy improvement. All we're doing is widening the road in that location. We're essentially adding a turn lane. We have room between our stormwater pond and the roadway in that location. You'll also note that MnDOT hasn't completed all of their improvements in the intersection. They're waiting for us to do the turn lane so that we can line up the pedestrian facilities in that location, and that's why they haven't completed everything, because they don't want to complete it and have something change with the curb lines. And so that will be proceeding. That improvement itself is about a 3-week construction. Now the reason it's going to take 3 weeks is we're only going to do lane or partial lane closures during non-high volume during the day, get morning traffic out, get the evening traffic back in, and in those gaps we'll be doing our road work in that location, because we do have to do some shutdown of that adjacent lane as we're making construction, obviously. And so we're very sensitive to the issues that Nicollet has currently. We don't want to make them worse as part of that project. And so it will have about a 3-week time frame. Of course, after the contract is awarded tonight, potentially by the council, we will set up the pre-construction meeting and we'll get the final dates on that piece of the project at that time. The bigger component of this project is the actual water main replacement. And I just for the council and those watching want to maybe touch on, this is the final leg of a large infrastructure program over the last several years that the city has undertaken to replace our 36-inch water main, which runs from our water treatment facility up to the Nicollet Reservoir. And about 60% of the city's water flows through that main. It's a very important main. And many may be asking, why are we replacing that main? Well, it's a concrete material water main, and unfortunately the materials that were used when this main was constructed don't have life expectancies beyond 50 to 60 years because of some issues with the materials themselves. And so because this is such an important water main, the city has been proactive in trying to replace this main. And up until this year, the city had replaced a portion of main from our water treatment facility up to the intersection of Burnsville Parkway. You'll note as part of different projects, we had put in those segments. And so that portion is complete, waiting for the final leg. And the final leg will actually take it up the rest of the way up Nicollet and into our reservoir. Many people may not even be aware we have a 1.8 million gallon reservoir right outside of City Hall that's one of our primary reservoirs that serves, as I said, a large portion of the city. And so that connection will be made. The main will actually be installed in our northbound lanes or the east side of the roadway. That is a little problematic because we have a lot of traffic that uses those mains too, and so or those lanes too. So as part of that, there will be some construction issues. The first of which is fire muster. Obviously, is in this area, and it's very important. So we won't actually even start construction until after fire muster in September. That's the way our contract is set up. That way, we don't have to worry about timing with the fire muster or any of the activities going on. So that's an important piece of this. So, but if we look at traffic issues in this area, what we're going to have to do for that segment of roadway is run one lane each direction for a segment of Nicollet Avenue, and that's going to last about 6 weeks that'll occur. And so your northbound traffic will actually cross over at Arbor Lane, travel northbound on the shared roadway, and then at 129th cross back before you get to the intersection signal. So Burnsville Parkway signal will still function the way it's meant to, but we will have that segment that will be shared. And then, of course, the southbound traffic will run on the outer lane, existing lane on that westbound side. So we believe that'll function. As I said, it's going to be about a 6-week period that we have to do that. We will, for the public's notice, we will have to close down the roadway for one weekend up near Burnsville Parkway as we make the large water main connection and some of the storm sewer work that needs to be done. So over a weekend, we will have a closure in this area of Nicollet for the entire weekend. We also will have 3 overnight closures because one of the great things about water mains is they're connected to other water mains, and we do have to cross Nicollet to the side where the traffic is in several locations, but we're going to do those at night to minimize traffic impact. So I think our staff and consultants believe this will be the least impactful way to construct this water main and then get that water main up and operational, which, as I said, it's a critical water main. We now will be set for the future in that area and not have to worry about any potential issues with that water main. And so with that, I would take any questions that the council has. We are tonight recommending that the council accept the bids and award a contract to Northwest Asphalt, who has done other projects in town. They are also a pipe contracting company. They do paving and pipe work. And so staff is recommending that the council accept those bids and award that contract tonight. And with that, I take any questions you have.
Councilmember Keeley?
How long will the new pipe last, based on current
Ductile iron
materials?
pipes, we expect to get about 100 years out of the new ductile iron material. So more than double of what we got out of the concrete pipes.
Wonderful.
Any other questions for
We
Mr.
won't,
Albrecht?
we won't be around when it needs to be replaced.
We won't have to deal with it again.
But we've made good decisions for our children and grandchildren.
That's right.
So that they will have
Great-grandchildren.
And probably a good decision for the next 10 to 20 years of not repairing water main breaks
Breaks.
of this old
yes.
system.
Right. Right. So any other questions for Mr. Albrecht? Yeah. And I think this is very good because then our citizens also know what to expect and when this is going to happen. And there'll be a lot of communication so that they know what's going to happen in this corridor.
And the city will actually be utilizing for the first time. We have a new message board that we got through a state safety grant, so
Yeah.
that funded, I think, 90% of that. And we'll actually have our own message board for construction projects now, so we can tell people what's going on these projects, and we'll be able to utilize that too on this project.
Excellent.
Move,
Any other questions? If not, a motion is in order.
move to approve. Second.
Councilmember Keeley makes the motion, second by Councilmember Coughlin. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you. The next item on our agenda, members of the council, is being asked by the applicant to be continued, and this is to consider the provisional rental license for Lindahl Property Partnerships for the Country Village Apartments. And the applicant has asked for the item to be pulled and for a future date. So we don't know that yet, so I need a motion to continue this item.
Motion to continue.
Second.
Councilmember Coughlin makes the motion, second by Councilmember Keeley. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Members of the council, there's nothing else to come before us this evening, and a motion to adjourn is in order.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Councilmember Sherry makes the motion, second by Councilmember Coughlin. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Good night, and thank you for being with us.